Hi, my name is Dylan Hardesty, and I'm applying to be an RA for the fall of 2021 till the spring of 2022. I'm originally from Jacksonville, Florida, but I went to FSU Music Camp for 2 years, and that's when I was getting interested into coming on campus and starting to study here for piano performance. In 2018, however, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and then my interests greatly shifted into the medical field, and I almost considered dropping piano altogether, which was very hard for me because I had done piano for many years at that point. I went to art school for 4 years for piano, and so it was very stressful. I was trying to figure out what to do with my life. And then at a college night at my high school, I learned about music therapy with FSU, and that's when it was solidified that that's what I wanted to do with my future career. Something I aspire to do, kind of with music therapy, I want to work in a hospital, either with premature babies or with the elderly. And eventually, I want to have my private owned music therapy business. And then when I retire, I want to teach really anyone, kids, adults, whoever, piano. I want to teach piano lessons when I retire. Unfortunately, currently, I am considered undecided with the piano principal, but I've just reapplied for music therapy like a week ago, so we'll see if I get into fall this semester or next semester. So, I really got interested in becoming an RA because when I was observing, the RAs in my hall, it seems very connected to what I did volunteer-wise throughout my middle school and high school days. I volunteered with a ton of orchestra concerts and setting up receptions, setting up concerts, and setting up decor and talking to people, the audience members, getting feedback from them on how they felt about the concert, what could be changed, and I relayed that back to the people who were in charge of me. And I feel that the similar vibe is carried through our position, and that really interests me because that was probably the most fun I've had in my high school days, was doing all this volunteering and meeting all these wonderful people who led the orchestras and all that. It was just so fun, so interesting, and I think the hospitality vibe I got from that is similar to the RA position here, from what I've seen of the RAs in my hall at least. I think some of the most important things that RAs do, of course, the big one for me is the connection with the residents. I think to be an RA, you have to have this nice connection with your residents. You need to make sure they're doing okay. You need to be able to handle their needs, and you need to get to know them so you know what their needs actually are. And I think that is something that I would really enjoy doing. Another thing is planning hall events, of course. I know that, I've only been here this is my second semester, and it's all been during coronavirus, and I think that's been very tough to plan hall events. Hopefully by the time next semester, that'll be a lot better. But if not, there's lots of virtual events that I think would be really interesting that we've done this semester, or just like socially distanced hall events that we've done. There was like a Jeopardy colloquium I went to for my music LLC, and while that's not really like an RA thing, I think similar events like that for the hall in general would be a really good idea. That kind of goes along with connecting the residents, though, because if you connect your residents, you were connected to your residents, all that. So, of course, also coordinating the hall, or at least the floor you live on, is also good. I've seen like the bulletin boards around, and I've gotten some ideas of my own for what I would want to do with a bulletin board, or potentially something like that. Or the quiet hour posters in my hall are really good. So, I think those are probably the main three that I can think of that a RA would probably do. I've lived now in Cawthon Hall. This is my second semester living here, and there's been a huge impact on my performance living here. I noticed this because when I went home for winter break, it was a lot harder socially and academically for me. Being here, and especially in an LSC, you connect with so many people who go through the same things you do, and I think that's a very pivotal key part into being able to stay focused. Actually, it's always nice to talk to people who are going through similar things in my like music theory classes and all that. And so, again, being an RA, potentially within an LLC, is really good because then you can connect to your residents through things like how I'm connected through music with all my residents, or with all the people who are in my hall right now. And I think that's very important. Of course, it's always difficult during a coronavirus time, but during a pandemic. But I think even then, you're still able to connect everyone together somehow, and I think that's really beautiful. So my interest in video games is actually pretty normal, I'd say. I'm not really a multiplayer video game kind of person. I play a lot of single player video games like Zelda, Kingdom Hearts, all of those sorts of games. But I think an interesting idea um, would be, so in the questions it brings up power ups, and I think what my big idea was for like a bulletin board is like a leveling up system, because video games have the leveling up system. And I feel like I've seen like the mental help things that my RA has put in my hall, and it's like getting help and like you take whatever you want. And I think there should be like, or there could be a system where you start at like the base level, and you like, it's just recommendations to get the help you need, and you go up, and eventually like the top one is just like, you know, being able to manage your time and all that. I think a leveling system like that would be really good and really interactive with the residents, and I think that's a really good idea. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for the opportunity of doing this interview. Bye.